Okay, let's unpack this. You've probably heard a lot about Web3, right? The decentralized future, the metaverse, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But maybe you've also experienced some of the friction, the clunkiness, that feeling that it's not quite ready for prime time.
Yeah, definitely. It can feel pretty technical sometimes.
Totally. Like you need a PhD just to mint an NFT.
Mhm.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into something designed to, change all of that.
Yeah, smooth out those rough edges.
Exactly. Bring some real usability to the blockchain space.
We're going to be exploring Rialo. It's a new blockchain,
Yeah.
and it's setting out with a really ambitious mission.
Ambitious how?
Well, basically to bridge that significant, often frustrating gap between Web 2 and Web 3.
Okay.
Their core goal is to make decentralized apps feel as seamless and, frankly, as essential as the apps we use constantly. Think Uber, Instagram, WhatsApp.
Wow. Okay. So like normal app simple.
That's the idea. That's
Yeah.
the bar they're aiming for, and
Yeah.
they seem pretty confident they can meet it.
That is definitely an ambitious target. So our sources for today's deep dive, they give us a pretty comprehensive look at Realto's, well, proposed design principles, its features, who it's for.
Right. It's important to stress the proposed part for now.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to explore how Rialo aims to remove those pain points we mentioned
Mm-hmm.
and really integrate Web3 into our everyday digital lives, both for you, the user, and for the developers actually building this future.
Yeah, looking at how it proposes to transform things, turn that often frustrating tech into something intuitive, powerful, maybe.
Okay, so let's set the stage a bit. It feels like Web3 has made some, well, incredible promises.
For sure.
We hear about blazing fast transaction speeds, amazing throughput, but widespread everyday adoption, it still seems kind of just over the horizon.
So it feels a bit niche, doesn't it?
Yeah, why is that? What's the fundamental issue here, despite all the innovation?
Well, what's fascinating is how Rialo diagnoses the problem. They basically say blockchains, as they mostly exist today, are like islands.
Islands. Okay, explain that.
If you picture it, each blockchain tends to operate as its own sort of isolated ecosystem.
Right, like they don't talk to each other easily.
Exactly. They're inherently disconnected,
Yeah.
often unable to directly interact with real-world services or, and this is crucial, with the huge majority of users who are still firmly in Web 2.
Ah, okay, so they're cut off from where most people actually are online.
Precisely. This fundamental lack of connection is what Rialo sees as the core barrier. They want to address it by offering what they call real-world capabilities, bring Web 3 to the users, not force users onto some new, isolated island.
So if Web3 is an island, Rialo is building like a high-speed bridge.
That's a good way to put it.
But hang on, is it purely a technical connection problem? Or are these islands maybe a feature for some projects, like intentional walled gardens?
That's a really insightful question, actually. And yeah, you could argue some projects do prioritize that self-contained ecosystem. But our sources suggest Rialo views this isolation primarily as a barrier to mass adoption, regardless of any specific design philosophy elsewhere.
Okay, so for them, isolation equals friction.
From their perspective, yeah. The lack of seamless interaction needs solving. They're focused on making Web3 not just faster, but just fundamentally more integrated with our existing digital lives.
Right. So let's look at the specific pain points they're targeting for users, because these are probably frustrations, you listening have personally felt if you've dabbled in Web3.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, just navigating different networks, dealing with wrapped tokens,
Yeah.
it's been a headache sometimes.
You are definitely not alone there. Rialo directly targets these common user frustrations. First up, what they call interop woes,
Interrupt woes, okay?
basically eliminating that constant need for network switching, the hassle of wrapped assets. It's confusing, it's cumbersome, especially if you're just trying to use an app.
Yeah, totally breaks the flow.
Then you've got wallets as bottlenecks. The current experience often means juggling different wallets, fragmented ecosystems, constantly signing transactions.
Ugh, the signing, every single click sometimes.
Right, it really interrupts things. Rialo aims to streamline this, make wallet interactions much more intuitive, less intrusive.
Okay, that sounds good. What else?
Another big one. Unpredictable costs. Those volatile transaction fees, gas fees, right? And the threat of sandwich attacks.
Sandwich attacks. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's where malicious actors basically exploit tiny price changes by quickly buying and selling around your transaction, making you pay more without you even realizing.
That sounds not good. Sneaky.
It makes using Web3 economically uncertain and, yeah, a bit scary. Rialo is focused on mitigating these issues, creating a more stable environment, hopefully.
Stability would be nice.
And thinking about identity, abandoning social identity. Right now, you jump into Web3, you often start fresh with a new wallet address, right?
Yeah.
Anonymous.
Yeah, like a whole new persona.
Rialo wants to let users bring their existing social identity, say, from TikTok or X or whatever, directly into the decentralized world.
Oh, interesting. So I don't have to be 0x, whatever.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It removes a massive barrier for new users who don't want to start over.
Okay. What else is on their list?
They also tackle the always-on problem, that feeling of needing to be constantly watching for an NFT drop or some other time-sensitive event.
Oh, man, I have definitely set a 3 a.m. alarm for a token launch, only to wake up completely confused and still miss it.
Yeah, been there.
So a blockchain that helps me get more sleep, I'm listening.
Exactly. Rialo wants to reduce that burden. And finally, a really crucial security point, the lack of 2FA.
Two-factor authentication in
Ooh.
crypto.
Yeah. In a world where, let's face it, irreversible wallet hacks are a devastating reality, integrating something familiar like 2FA for enhanced security seems critical. It's about building trust and safety.
Wow, okay, that is quite a list of user pain points they're aiming at. What truly jumps out at you as maybe the most impactful for the average user?
Good question. I think that 2FA is huge just for basic trust. Like you said, hacks are scary. But also that social identity piece. It just makes onboarding so much less weird,
Yeah, I agree. For me personally, it's maybe not having to constantly monitor for that NFT drop or, yeah, the thought of 2FA on a crypto wallet that feels like a massive leap for just daily usability.
Right.
It's those small but really significant friction points that just turn people away. The mental load of being always on or fearing a hack is just, it's immense.
I completely agree. That 2FA piece alone could be a game changer for trust. But as you're sort of hinting, none of this really takes off if the people building these things are struggling too, right?
Exactly. It's not just about my experience clicking buttons.
Yeah. For Web3 to thrive, the developers building these applications need a much smoother ride. And Rialo seems to be tackling some big challenges for them as well.
Because ultimately, if it's a nightmare to build, it's probably going to be clunky to use.
That's spot on. Developers face their own set of unique frustrations. One they mention is drowning in integrations.
Grounding and integration.
Yeah, building a dApp often means spending just a ton of time on third-party integrations, dealing with brittle off-chain services that can break easily. Rialo wants to significantly cut that down.
Okay, less plumbing, more building.
Pretty much. Another issue, reads hurt. Getting that true sub-second end-to-end latency, that instant feel we expect from Web 2 apps, is tough in Web 3. Data access isn't always streamlined.
Right, sometimes things just feel slow.
So Rialo focuses on making data reads faster, more efficient, so apps feel genuinely responsive.
Got it. What else for the devs?
Then there's endless monitoring, fragile reactions. Currently, devs often have to set up expensive off-chain monitoring systems just to react to things happening on-chain.
Like watching the blockchain constantly.
Yeah, and it often leads to gas wars where users end up overpaying to get their transactions noticed. Rialo promises lightning-fast on-chain reactions directly without needing all that costly off-chain stuff.
Okay, that sounds more efficient.
And don't forget expensive indexers. An indexer is basically like a specialized database that makes blockchain data easy to search. Running the full nodes and infrastructure for that. Incredibly costly. Drains resources.
So simplifying data access again.
Right, reducing that need.
Yeah.
Then there's the Oracle tax. Oracles bring real-world data like stock prices onto the blockchain. Super important, but often costly and sometimes unreliable.
Yeah, getting outside data in is tricky.
Rialo aims to provide more reliable, more affordable ways to get custom data feeds. And finally, bridges the necessary evil.
Bridges between blockchains, right?
Yeah. Necessary now for cross-chain stuff, but they often create security holes, degrade security. Rialo wants to eliminate the need for these potentially risky bridges by building in interaction capabilities.
Interesting. So native interaction instead of bridging.
That seems to be the goal. The project really believes, based on our sources, that the next generation of builders wants to focus on building faster, shipping smarter.
Not getting bogged down managing complex, fragile infrastructure.
Exactly. It's about empowering their creativity, letting them build the cool stuff.
Okay, so we've laid out the problems, both for us users and for the developers building this future. Now, the big question, how? How does Rialo actually plan to deliver on all this?
Right.
What's under the hood? They call them real-world features, right? These sound like more than just buzzwords.
They absolutely are, according to the design docs. Rialo is built with a whole suite of features designed specifically to hit those user and developer pain points we discussed.
Okay, let's hear them.
Let's start with real-world data and connectivity. This is potentially huge. Smart contracts on Rialo could pull live data and integrate with basically any off-chain API using simple HTTPS calls.
Wait, any API, just like a normal web request?
That's the claim. Imagine a smart contract instantly checking, I don't know, a flight status, verifying shipping info, getting a livestock price directly from an external source. No complex, expensive middlemen.
Okay, that opens up a lot of possibilities for apps that react to the real world.
Huge potential. Then there's real-world privacy. They talk about offering fast, affordable, robust solutions for verifiable and confidential execution.
Verifiable and confidential, meaning?
Meaning you can prove something is true using data without necessarily revealing all the underlying sensitive data itself, crucial for businesses or handling personal info.
Gotcha. Privacy-preserving proofs.
Exactly. And coupled with this is real-world identity. This is where you can use email, SMS, or those social accounts as Web3 passports. Makes onboarding incredibly simple.
So no more writing down 12 words just to sign up for something.
That's the goal. And it also supports more advanced stuff like crypto loans potentially linked to real-world credit scores or even smart contract wills. It shows a deep integration idea.
Okay, bringing in privacy and identity from the, let's say, normal world really feels like tackling some major hurdles for mainstream adoption. Makes Web3 less intimidating, more familiar.
Precisely.
What about performance, that speed we expect from Web 2?
Yeah, that leads to real-world speed and scalability. The aim here is true sub-second end-to-end latency for users, that instant responsiveness you get from your favorite apps.
Sub-second, okay, that's fast.
And they talk about infinite scalability using features like multiple concurrent proposers. Basically, the network can process many transactions at once, not just one after the other. Boosts throughput dramatically, aiming to prevent bottlenecks.
So it shouldn't get clogged up like we see sometimes now.
That's the design goal. And to make sure apps are dynamic, there's real-world reactivity. This means instant, automatic, reliable on-chain reactions to events without needing manual intervention or off-chain watchers.
So the smart contracts themselves become more aware and responsive.
Kind of like they can feel and respond to the world around them instantly, yeah.
Cool. What about for the builders?
For them, real-world programmability is key. Rialo introduces modern programming concepts into smart contracts. Things like future promise.await for asynchronous stuff, event-driven logic, true randomness, all powered by RISC-V.
RISC-V, that's an open source processor thing, right?
Yeah, it's an open architecture. It gives developers potentially more control, more efficiency. The idea is to make building complex apps much more intuitive for modern software engineers, using familiar tools and patterns.
Okay, that sounds like it could seriously lower the barrier for experienced Web 2 developers to jump into Web 3.
That seems to be a major goal.
What about bringing users back into their comfort zone?
Absolutely. That's real-world usability. Bringing back familiar things like 2FA, scheduled transactions, those easy social logins we mentioned, making Web3 feel like the internet you already know and trust.
Familiarity breeds comfort, definitely.
Then there's real-world assets, making it easier to bring all sorts of assets, mainstream ones and long-tail ones, onto the chain, expanding what Web3 can actually represent.
Okay.
And all of this, all these features, they culminate in the ability to build real-world applications. Apps people might actually use daily. Apps that go beyond just speculation and solve everyday problems, whether that's in finance, gaming, social stuff, whatever.
So what does this all mean then? It sounds like each feature is powerful on its own, tackling specific issues. But there's a bigger picture here, right? It's not just a checklist of features.
Exactly. If we connect the dots, it's about what Rialo calls being super modular.
Super modular.
Yeah.
Okay, buzzword alert. Or is there substance?
Well, it could sound like one, but the idea is that each capability isn't just standalone. They amplify each other. The whole system becomes, greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay, give me an example. How do they amplify?
Okay, imagine like a truly dynamic on-chain mortgage application. Wild idea, maybe?
Right.
With real-world identity, you could instantly link verified credit data. Real-world data pulls in live property values, interest rates from traditional finance APIs. Real-world privacy makes sure your personal details are only revealed as needed. And real-world programmability handles all the complex logic. This combination, this super modularity, could create a seamless instant process. Feels less like a crypto experiment, more like a next-gen financial service. all on-chain.
Okay, I see how they connect there. That makes sense.
And our sources mention Rialo's early community described as elite builders. Habitually early adopters are apparently already playing with these combinations, pushing the boundaries of what's possible when these features work together.
These features sound incredibly transformative, at least on paper.
Hmm.
They certainly seem to tackle major pain points we all know. But for a project proposing such deep, real-world integration, what are maybe the biggest hurdles? Technical, adoption hurdles, whatever. How do they actually deliver this and get people to buy in?
That is a really important question to consider. The challenge with a platform promising this level of deep integration, across Web 2 and Web 3, it probably lies in a couple of key areas.
Sure.
First, the sheer technical execution. Consistently reliable, high-speed connections to any off-chain API, doing it securely, doing it at scale. That's a massive engineering challenge. Things break, APIs change.
Yeah, reality bites sometimes.
Second, adoption isn't just about the tech working. It's about convincing developers to migrate or build new stuff on Rialo. And then, crucially, convincing traditional Web 2 companies and just regular users that this new super modular way is genuinely better, more secure, more efficient, easier to use than what they already have.
Right. Inertia is a powerful force.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
path from an ambitious feature list on a website to a truly ubiquitous real-world application is rarely straightforward. Lots of things need to line up.
So this deep dive into Rialo, it definitely paints a picture of a potential future, doesn't it? Where Web3 isn't just this niche thing for techies, but maybe a foundational layer, empowering everyday apps almost invisibly behind the scenes.
Yeah, moving past the clunky, the slow, the disconnected feel it often has now,
Yeah.
making it seamlessly integrated, usable, like Web 2,
Right.
which, raises a really interesting question. If Web 3 truly becomes that seamless, that integrated into our daily digital lives, maybe to the point we don't even realize it's blockchain powering something, what new, maybe unimaginable applications and services could emerge then? How might our daily interactions or digital identities transform when the underlying tech just works? Reliably, securely, connecting everything without all that friction we talked about.
When the focus shifts from the tech itself to what you can actually do with it.
Exactly. The possibilities really open up then.
And that is definitely a thought worth exploring. We encourage you, as always, to keep diving into these evolving technologies yourself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.